let's talk with BYU Athletic Director Brian Santiago. Had a great opportunity to catch up with Brian at Big 12 Media Days. We had a great chat about his new role as BYU's athletic director, what he hopes to accomplish as he inherits a chair that Tom Homo filled very, very well for more than 2 decades, but Brian's been right there in lockstep with Tom for so long. What does he hope to accomplish now that he takes over full control of BYU athletics? But more importantly, what does he hope to do in terms of helping BYU football stay near, if not at the top of the Big 12? Well, those are questions that we had answered among many others. And here you go, Brian Santiago with myself right here on Locked On Cougars.
Media days are a crazy thing. This is your first one as BYU AD. How different has it been in your experience from previous ones?
Yeah, the biggest thing is it's so nice to be here with Kalani Sitake.
Yeah.
There's nobody better in the business as far as just having a feel for BYU, for this place, for the Big 12, that we have so much respect. And then it was super fun to be with our players last night and today. I jumped in a room and listened to them answer some questions, and it gets me super excited, not only for the football that's upcoming, but just who these guys are as people. I'm super impressed with our coach and our players.
Do you feel like you've settled in at all since taking over?
It's a fair question. You know, Jake, I'm one that just feels like I've been part of a great team.
Yeah.
Been mentored by the best in the business in Tom Homo.
Yeah.
And I feel like because of my relationships with our coaches, it's allowed for a smooth transition.
Yeah.
But as we put our team together and get closer to doing that and having some people around me that can help, I feel like it's just going to keep getting better and better. But it's been a great learning experience.
Yeah.
I've been so amazed in this spot to learn from so many people and be able to see what's going on. You get exposed to a lot more.
Yeah.
And certainly there's a respect factor there, because when you're in the administration, I was the number 2 guy, and then you actually move to the athletic director chair, you're just exposed to a lot more. But so grateful to be at an institution like BYU that stands for something way bigger than sport, and to be mentored now by President Reese and Keith Borkink, and like I said, to be around these coaches, it's been great. It's really been a good learning experience for me.
The honor code's come back into the national consciousness recently. I guess the easiest question is, how do you guys approach it, and like, how do you guys go about espousing it? Because I know you guys stand by the principles that it stands for.
Yeah, I think that our president has commented on it, and we all commented. It's a strength for BYU.
Yeah.
And student athletes across the country, and all of those young men and women that are at BYU right now, are choosing BYU precisely because of the honor code. And it's our responsibility to continue to cultivate that culture. It's a strength for us. We actually believe that these student athletes, some of the most prominent in the country, are choosing BYU for what it stands for. Both members of our faith and religiously diverse student athletes as well. So we're going to embrace it, and we're grateful to tell the world that our student athletes and coaches are going to compete at the highest level and compete for national championships and do it the BYU way. And that's where the magic starts happening. And so we're super excited about the future. And in these tougher situations, we're going to stand with confidence and knowing exactly who we are. And we don't ever want to lose the human element of making sure that we're also helping young men and women as they move forward in their lives.
You talked about Kalani and being here with him. He's entering his 10th year as a football coach, and I know it's as hard as that is to believe. He's been a decade on the job. How do you think he is now versus when he's maybe started the position? 'Cause I know you've been around the whole time.
He gets better and better and better, not only as a football coach, but as a human being. Like the culture that he's built, we're winning at a very, very high level, and we're going to continue to win at a high level because of he and his coaching staff. He's put a remarkable coaching staff together. They're doing great things. They're building depth. We all know at this level, at the Power 4 level, you have to have great depth to be great. I went on record last year before the season started and told everyone, I don't think people realize how good of a team Kalani and our staff have put together. We're going to surprise a lot of people, and it's exactly what happened last year. I think we're going to continue to play really sound football, but he's just such a great leader.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we have such a huge emotional win last year after the University of Utah game in an incredible game. And the things that were talked about after the game in the locker room, it shows what kind of a leader Kalani Sitake is. And in the development of the whole person at BYU, he's trying to develop men that are prepared to go change the world, and those are the coaches you want to go to battle with. And I'm super excited to be on the mountain with him and climbing the mountain together with Kalani.
We're watching this college sports universe change dramatically. House settlements in effect, the College Sports Commission, all this stuff.
Yeah.
How have you been able to adapt to it? I guess in some ways, it helps you because you're coming in right as it's making all these changes too.
Yeah, I'm super fortunate that I have the experience of being in the middle of it, and I'm also fortunate that we have a team at BYU that we've prepared for this.
Okay.
And we're actually really excited about the transition from third parties, the transition of power that the settlement brings back to the universities and to the athletic departments.
Yeah.
That's going to be a strength for us because not only are we prepared for it, we are really fortunate to be at a university that manages our resources so well. We've made great decisions and sound decisions in our athletic department. So financially we're prepared, but we're also prepared with a plan that's going to be able to focus on the football and basketball programs that are a major part of our revenue. But it also allows us to really put resources into the other athletic teams and the Olympic sports so that we can continue to be great across the board in all of our sports. That is what we're trying to do, is be nationally relevant across the board and do it the BYU way.
When it comes to NIL, you mentioned the fact it's going to more come in-house in that respect. Do you like that element where you're able to actually, I guess, have some more control of it?
Yeah, 100%. Right? Everyone knows the third party element of NIL was unsustainable. Bringing it back in-house, now that there are rules that if everybody plays by, and the CSC and the enforcing arm of the CSC enforces, this is going to be a great thing for BYU, because if we can control inside how we're allocating resources, we can be responsible with the sacred resources we have responsibility for. We can invest in the student athletes that we want to invest in that fit BYU. That's where magic's going to happen. We're really excited about this transition back to the universities, because now the power lies right here with us at BYU, and we can make the sound decisions. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention the gratitude that we feel for those individuals that helped us, not only the donors and corporate sponsors, but the individuals that jumped in, the Royal Blue Collective, that helped us navigate the last couple of years. There's so much gratitude we feel for those people because of what they did to help us navigate a really tricky time in the history of college sports. And so I just want to express gratitude to them. In particular, there's a gentleman by the name of Min Kim that I'm going to mention because he led out with the Royal Blue, and just immense gratitude for the time and effort he put in to help us do things the right way the last 2 or 3 years in a very turbulent world that prepared us to be able to bring it in-house and now us manage it.
Get you out of here on this. Obviously you have a basketball background, but we talked with you at your introductory press conference. You said, hey, football's got to be the focus here, but you also mentioned the fact you want all sports to be relevant. How are you going to go about that? Because you talk about the majority of the resources, the revenue generators are men's basketball and football, but how do you go about allocating enough for the other sports to feel like they're still feeling the love?
Yeah, Jake, that's a great question. Football is the ship. I said it in the press conference, and the focus needs to be on football. I mean, 75+% of your revenues are brought in by your football program. You have to focus there. And men's basketball brings in another 15 to 20%. So you really want to make sure you're allocating resources proportional to making sure that your revenue sports are relevant, nationally relevant, which they are. But at the same time, there are a lot of conferences and other schools that are saying, hey, we're only going to invest in these 2 or 3 other Olympic sports. We're going to invest in all of them. And you say, how do you do that? You got to be really sound with your finances, and it's got to be a team game. And we really feel that Kalani, Kevin Young, leading out, that they need the resources to maximize what they're doing. One of our key principles in the one team culture that we've been building over time is to maximize football. It's the M in team. But there are all these other areas that we need to, you're talking about top organization, embracing belonging, the athlete ecosystem, and then maximizing football. So we're going to maximize those sports, but we are going to invest other resources into our Olympic sports so that we can be relevant. We have been excelling. We're national champions in men's and women's cross country. Our volleyball, soccer, so many of our other teams have been top of the class. We would be ignorant to divest in those sports when we're excellent. So we're going to continue to invest across the board, and we're going to be very creative. And we actually think we can do it in a way where we're responsible with the resources so that all of our teams can be wildly successful and make sure that we're leaving nobody behind. We expect greatness from all of our sports.
There you have it, Brian Santiago with myself right here on the Locked On Cougars podcast. A big thank you to him for taking the time down at Big 12 Media Days to talk with myself. And I know he talked with a lot of other people, but you can tell that he's excited to have this new job. But more importantly, you can tell that he is bullish on the future for BYU, house settlement or not, NIL, all of it. Brian has embraced every part of it. That was one thing he's actually was asked to spearhead by Tom Homo, is to kind of help BYU navigate this newfound world, this new era that includes now the house settlement, NIL, the transfer portal. And to Brian's credit, he's been on it from the early days of this. And I can tell you that he's probably got ideas that he wants to try out. And you heard him talk about the fact that he feels like BYU still going to be in an advantageous spot when it comes to NIL and the like. So we'll see how it all plays out for BYU football, but he knows that BYU football, it's the engine that drives everything else in BYU athletics. You got to make sure these guys are taken care of. Football is the chief revenue generator, even as much as he is a basketball guy. You can tell that Brian understands that you got to make sure football is taken care of first and foremost, and then kind of delineates down from there if you want to make sure you have a healthy athletic department, which is exactly what BYU's mandate is that their athletic department, it's got to be self-sufficient, self-sustaining. It's got to generate all the revenue that it subsists on, and being in the Big 12 is a big part of that. And you can tell that Brian's very, very happy to be in that chair, but also looking forward to leading BYU on in to the future.